Merry Christmas, Erica.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
So we got together about a month ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were really talking about the stress that people go through around the holidays.
Right. Yep.
And so we wanted to work on something creative together.
And you're so much fun to work with, by the way. Like, I have to say that.
Oh,
So
thanks.
creative.
You are too. So we decided that we were going to put together this short 7-day video series. Nothing long, nothing major, just kind of scratching the surface
Yep.
of a different perspective, a different story that you could be telling yourself over the holidays so that things aren't quite so hard.
Yes, and it's like important to think about, like, it's like everything that touches one of us touches us all. Like the kind of stuff we were coming up with when we talked about holiday stressors, it was like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff we all deal with. So it's kind of good to talk about it because we're all dealing with it. We're all in it together.
And we probably could have come up with like a whole month of videos if we had time to do that kind of thing.
Right?
To touch on like all of the different things we were talking about that day before we started shooting those videos.
Yep.
So today, we wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. And so first, we're going to replay those videos. We're going to have a little watch party this evening. This is also a little experiment with this. So we're going to do that. Me too. And with the first video, we kind of introduced who we are. So I see two of you out there watching us.
Hi.
Hello. At any time, if you have any questions or something that you want to contribute to the conversation, feel free to put your question in the chat and we will answer it for you. Okay, so now. Hey, everybody. We are here today.
They might be. And I'm really excited to talk to you, especially. This is Heidi Aderman. She is a life coach and a performance coach. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. I help busy people have time and energy for everything that they want to do. And, we were talking earlier, and you had mentioned that a lot of your patients, when they come in around the holidays, are talking about high levels of stress, and also they're just tired.
Yes, so I'm a family practice nurse practitioner. I see patients in the clinic like a family doctor for all kinds of symptoms and problems. But the most common symptom I hear is I'm fatigued, I'm tired, I'm stressed, and that is worse around the holidays. So I love to talk about different ways to combat fatigue and stress and feel better and then actually enjoy the holiday time.
So hopefully you stick with us over the next couple segments. We're going to be telling some Christmas tales that have been draining your time and energy and robbing you of really having a happy holiday. That day was so fun.
That was fun. I love it.
Oh no, hold on. Oh, well, that's cool. It's going to autoplay into the next video. So that'll be easy. I just need to remember to pause it. Okay, so Erica, let's talk more about what you do as a nurse practitioner. I have bragged before that you are the best nurse practitioner around. And so why don't you go into a little bit more detail and tell people why that is?
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. So nurse practitioners are nurses that go on to receive additional training, additional school, and they learn basically the role of a provider. So similar to what doctors do in primary care, nurse practitioners, physician assistants sort of do the same things. So I started out in primary care, and that's just like the family doctor. So I did that for like 9 years, taking care of patients of all ages with all, the spectrum of health problems. And I love that work. I love taking care of people. I love helping them feel better, mentally, physically. And a couple kind of struck me over the years. One of them was I kept hearing the same things over and over. There was a common thread running through most of the problems I saw in just the family practice medical doctor environment. And I was struck by the demands that were coming at me in your regular primary care setting. So nowadays, under your traditional model, using insurance, most people can relate. When you see your primary care provider, doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, you typically get a very limited amount of time, and it's pressure on both sides, right? So the patient gets, 10 to 15 minutes with the provider because we're getting demanded to see more and more people. There's a bigger demand. So it becomes stressful on both sides. The patient often feels rushed. The provider feels a lot of pressure to find a quick fix, get some kind of quick answer, and get them out the door because they have 5 more people in the waiting room ready to be seen. And I was seeing like 17, 18, 19 patients a day, which is pretty typical in today's primary care environment. And I loved it, but I found that I really wanted to get deeper. Like people were telling me things where I felt like there was a lot more going on with the person, but I wasn't able to address all that. I was really only able to kind of scratch the surface and move on and hopefully get them to come back at a later date so we could talk more. And so I eventually just decided I wanted to start my own practice. And so that way I could take like a lot more time with each person. So in my practice that I run now, it's called Optimized Life Health. My whole idea being to like help each individual person live their best life. So I take an hour with every patient. So each person that comes to see me, we sit down for an entire hour. We go through every single aspect of their health. We talk about their physical health. We talk about their mental health. We talk about their exercise, their sleep patterns, what's going on with them stress wise, and then what symptoms are they worried about. And we get into the root cause. I draw my own labs in the office. I can get 22, 23 different lab tests with like 2 vials of blood. And if they want that done, we go over all of that. I primarily focus on 3 main things: anxiety, fatigue, and weight gain or difficulty with weight loss, which are the most common things I see in primary care. And the main modes of treatment that I really like to focus on are hormone replacement therapy in men and women, and helping them lose weight, addressing fitness, exercise, nutrition, all of those things. And then when I uncovered things in the labs, then I address it in vitamins and supplements is another biggie. I typically find vitamin deficiency in my patients. It causes fatigue, it causes irritability, it causes weight gain. So if I find it, I teach them how to treat it. There's lots of ways to go about that. A lot of people don't realize when we have hormone deficiencies, then we have trouble absorbing our vitamins. Everything's connected: our physical health, our mental health, our hormonal health. So I find the common threads that connect all those things, and I get to the root cause and treat it. And a lot of times I can make huge progress with someone with 1 or 2 visits versus very little progress over a bunch of different visits. So I find this kind of work a lot more gratifying, and I'm kind of practicing my own way, and it's making me super happy. And so that's a little bit about what I do. I am curious to hear more about what you do, Heidi, because you and I got to talk about it a little bit when we were filming these videos. I know that there's a lot of buzz around the word term life coach now, but you do more than that. You're a productivity coach, right?
Yeah, and I really like what you were saying about getting to the root cause, because I know you just don't have time to be, learning all this other stuff around, which can be helpful. But if you're not actually getting to the root cause of the problem, which
treating a symptom, yep,
everything starts with your thoughts.
Yes.
Your thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions, and actions lead to results.
Right. Right.
So I focus on your habits and how you think. And that's where this series came up about stories that you're telling yourself. And in fact, Erica, I thought that this was so amazing. This idea of the stories that you tell yourself, that I'm carrying that through the whole year as my theme
That's
in,
awesome.
in 2024.
That's a great idea. Because we all have this like the story in our head, right? That we're telling ourselves, and we look for evidence that fits that story. And if it's a negative story, it's like that. What is that old saying? Like if you look for something negative, you're going to find it. Like, but if it's a positive story, the results could be amazing, right?
And something that people don't really realize is how much energy and time they're wasting getting caught up in these negative emotions,
Yeah.
rather than just paying attention to the negative emotion and using it as a signal that, oh, I should do something about this.
Right.
You stay in these negative emotions and it's wasting your energy. You're worried about it. You're stressed about it. You keep rehashing the situation over and over and over again. And that time, that energy could be spent on one of the many things that you've been saying that you don't have time to do.
Yes. So, like, what does it look like when someone comes to see you to tell themselves a different story?
So there's a couple ways that people can work with me. I have some group cohorts, which is really kind of nice because you don't just get a coach to guide you, but you also have other people that are learning the same thing alongside of you. And so it's a big learning collaboration, and I really love it. It's an 8-week cohort, and you get an app, and it just takes you 15 minutes a day to learn this habit that I feel like it's the habit of all habits. Like if you're having problems eating properly, if you're having problems going to the gym regularly and working out, if there's other things that you're having problems with building that habit, it all comes back again to what are you thinking about? What story are you telling yourself about that situation?
Yes.
I have an example. So a lot of times we tell ourselves that a certain situation is bad.
Right.
Like I was telling myself how much I dislike exercise.
I've
So
heard
like
that
no
story.
matter what I did, it was miserable. I hated it. I was totally unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But then I started looking at it from the right brain perspective, which is more the creative side of your thinking, more innovative, more like, let's really explore this situation and see what's actually going on here.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I just viewed it as such a terrible thing that I didn't want to do it, even if it was somewhat enjoyable. I would like enjoy the experience, and then the next day I'd be like, I don't want to do that today. That was, well, it was kind of nice, but it wasn't good. All
Did you
because I'm
find
just
that?
telling myself this story, right? So then I realized, what if I could just find 10% of what was good about exercise? And
Okay.
not even thinking about like the result over time, because
It's hard to
let's
see.
just face it, it's hard to get to that end result. So I'm like, okay, 10% of what is good with this in this moment. And I started focusing on that while I was exercising. Suddenly it became not quite so bad. In fact, like then I was getting other ideas like, oh, well, if we went to the park and threw the frisbee around, like that would be more fun than just like running around the block.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like my mind was suddenly unlocked with this. I had this idea in my head that it had to be like go to the gym and run on the treadmill or something like that. Something boring,
Yeah.
something difficult. But that was all the story that I was telling myself.
And did you find that when you focused on what was good about exercise, you had more energy to exercise? Whereas when you focused on like, I hate this, you had less energy?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
And is that how you help your clients like find the energy for the things?
Oh, well, yes. It's twofold. So much of your energy gets wasted on the negative thoughts, like me thinking about how bad exercising was. Not only was like I wasting energy in the moment, not enjoying it, not being happy, finding that 10% of something that's good of it, but I was wasting all this energy thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and tomorrow I have to do it again. And I'm
Mm.
gonna have to put on like my running shoes, and like it's like this big huge ordeal. When it didn't have to be. When you're focused on that positive, it's like, oh, I get to go do this.
I love that. I love that.
And
I
then
will
for me,
say,
because I'm still trying to like change some of that, it's like, and then it's over for today.
yeah, yeah. It goes by quicker. It's probably more effective, your exercise. And I run into this with people all the time. It's like this really negative approach to health. I should be, they kind of like beating themselves up, it's bad. Like I haven't done this. But I'm like, well, let's look at the things you are doing that are good. And then we just got to tweak. Sometimes it's just a little tweaking that needs to happen. And the person's like, oh, I'm so much better. And a lot of that tweaking has to do with the mindset, the way that they're looking at it and feeling about it. So I totally resonate with that. I see it all the time.
Awesome. I was just sending a little message out in the chat to the people watching
Oh,
us.
I
If
see
you guys
that.
have any questions, feel free to ask us questions in the chat. We'll be happy to answer that. And I do just want to say one more time that these videos we created are just touching the surface of some of these stories you've been telling yourself. When you work with a coach, they're going to help you catch when you're telling yourself a negative story so that you can recreate that story in a more positive outcome.
Yeah. I was just talking about this with a friend, like the idea that when you're in the middle of a situation, sometimes you don't see it, and someone objective from the outside, especially an expert, can listen and be like, I can see what's going on here, and they can see a pattern. And you might be like, oh, I didn't even realize that's what was going on. So having that fresh perspective is like huge. It's like nobody goes to like, think they're going to go play in the Super Bowl without a coach, or think they're going to go like run a marathon without someone training them. It's vital to have a coach. And if you have an area of your life you're passionate about changing.
And coaches are like, what was that one? Was it potato chips, Pringles? Like you just can't have one. Was it Lay's? What?
Pringles.
Pringles.
No, Lay's. Maybe it was Lay's. I think you're right. Just can't have one.
It was one of those chips things. But yeah, you could have multiple coaches depending on what area of your life you're working on and improving. And that's kind of how I look at you with what you do, Erica. You're like that health coach that has the insight and the knowledge about how the human body works, so that when I go and I talk to you about the things that I'm concerned about, you have a very different perspective than what I have. I have like the WebMD, I looked it all up, oh my God, I'm going to die perspective.
Right.
Which is a very scary place to be. So
yeah, and I mean, I can't tell you how many times people will say to me, like, I'm falling apart. Like, it's at the end, like, I'm just there. They think something horrible is happening. When I listen to everything, I'm like, it's actually really simple. You're not dying. Like, we can fix this. You'll be surprised. And I bet you, like, when you're treating people as a coach, it's something similar. I can remember even the few minutes that we talked, I would bring like some of my problems to you, and you'd point out a pattern, and I'm like, oh, it was more simple and way more of an easy fix than I even thought. And to me in the moment, it just feels overwhelming because there's a bunch of information out there and which way to go. And you got your friends giving you advice, which might be good. And you got people telling you stuff. And, your mother-in-law is telling you about that mole that you've got that, oh, it's cancer, maybe not. Maybe you should talk to an expert and see what they say, because we get information thrown at us from everywhere. And sometimes we just end up totally in fear and overwhelmed and paralyzed, when a coach can help us get out of that, make sense of it all, and move forward.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm ready for the next video.
I know, me too. I'm excited.
Okay. So the next video kind of addresses a little about what we were talking about earlier with this have to mentality.
Yeah.
We get so focused on a lot of the negatives of Christmas time and oh my goodness, I have to go shopping and I have to get the tree up and I have to get these lights on the outside of the house and I got to keep up with the neighbors and we got to go to this Christmas party and that. So
I've been
with
there.
this video, we really want you to stop and ask yourself, do you really have to?
Yeah.
Okay. The first story we're going to tell today is the story of the stressed out mom during the holidays. Isn't the story about your mom?
Yes, and interestingly enough, it's also a story about me. So, growing up, I was one of 5 kids, and my mom was super busy around the holidays, and she was always stressed. She's fixing the big dinners, she's buying all the presents for all the kids, and what we kept hearing over and over again is just like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, I'm stressed, I'm busy, and I find that nowadays I'm doing the same thing. Like I'm just running around, I'm trying to get everything done. I have a to-do list that seems so long, and I don't feel like I have time for the things that I want, the time the time for the things that I enjoy, and I don't even know how to approach it. I don't know how to fix it. So, what do I do? Where does this come from? How do I fix it? How do I change it?
So, can any of you relate to this out there? You know, you've watched your mom or another family member just frantic around the holidays, bouncing from one corner to the next, and now you notice that in yourself. So a lot of our automatic habits, you know, like when you get in the car and all of a sudden you realize that you're in the work parking lot and you meant to go to the grocery store, you know, like that. The same thing happens with other behaviors. So you've seen your mom be frantic through all of those holidays growing up. And this is just what your brain thinks is the way that you're supposed to behave during the holidays. The question that I'm always asking is, do you really have to be frantic for the holidays? Do you really have to do all of this stuff? Right. Do you have to? Or is that something that you just learn to be?
Right. So, what's the way that I can look at it and think about it differently?
So, you've already stopped to realize that you're frantic around Christmas time. So, now you need to catch yourself in a moment. As soon as you realize you're stressed and you're just losing your mind because you've got all of this stuff to do and you're never going to get it done on time, and you're telling yourself, here's the story, I'm never going to get it all done. Well, start thinking about what is really important for you to get done. Do you really have to do all of those things?
Right. Okay. So maybe pick a few things that I have to do, that I want to do.
And we'll talk about that in the next story.
I love that.
All right. So, what do you have to do before Christmas gets here, Erica?
I have to say, even our brief time making these videos, it really helped me. Like I did feel like I had to do all the things, and then after that talk, it really struck me what you said. I mean, I ended up reaching out to, so like I talked about, I'm one of 5 siblings. We have a ton, there's between all of us, there's like 10 children to buy for, and then all of us, and finally just reached out to everybody, and I was like, hey, this is kind of madness. We're just shipping all these presents back and forth, and we all know what our kids want. How about we each buy for our own kids? And then we'll make plans to see each other throughout the year or something like that. So I kind of pared down the Christmas list. It seemed like everyone was in agreement, which was great. I got a tree, and then all of the other stuff, like I just didn't stress it. And I'm more relaxed and the people around me feel that, and then they're more relaxed. And it's just made a world of difference to me. So right now, like here it is days away from Christmas and I don't feel stressed at all. I've got my shopping done and my tree is up, and I'm like, this is good enough. I'm happy with it.
Awesome.
Another
Yeah,
example of that, just real quick, is like I always used to think like I have to cook a big meal because my mom was like a really big cook and she's really big on cooking. But my kiddos are picky eaters and they don't care about a big meal. They would be just as happy with takeout. So I had to let that idea go. Like it doesn't have to be a giant ham dinner with a ton of fixings. Like I could make a small meal and or I'll get takeout. We still haven't decided what we're gonna do on Christmas Eve, but whatever it is, it's not gonna be elaborate and I'm not gonna stress it. So that feels really good.
amazing. I love that. And if all of a sudden you're like, I really miss all of that stuff, you could do that one year.
Yeah.
And make that one of your priorities. It's like my mom has so many Christmas decorations. She's one of the people that has the Christmas village. She starts putting that up in like September, and she barely gets it done in time for Christmas. But she would switch from one year to the next as far as like what decorations came out.
Okay.
And then that kind of worked out kind of nice because there was this bigger variety of decorations. It wasn't the same from one year to the next. So I tell you that story because your schedule could get like my mom's holiday Christmas decorations where like there's just so much to choose from. And rather than putting it all out and making everything just looking like super cluttered, you just choose to bring some stuff out one year. And then the next year you don't do that and you do something else. I think we're so deep rooted in this tradition and we have to do that every year.
Yes. And I don't know what that is, like a fear of disappointment, like someone's gonna be disappointed if everything isn't perfect. No, I mean they're probably gonna be more disappointed if I'm running around, feeling stressed and feeling anxious. It's probably better that I just make it more relaxed and enjoyable for everybody by picking like you said, there are some things that really matter, whatever that is. Pick that one or two or three things and then let everything else go. It's okay. It really is. I'm giving everyone permission.
Me too. You hear that? You have permission to just pick
Let certain
three of
things
the
go.
most important things and just make sure you do those.
If you don't love sending out Christmas cards, like here's a good example. I hear people complain like, my Christmas cards, I don't have and they stress about it. Like if you love sending cards, that's awesome. Like you should. But if you're stressed about it, I guarantee someone is not going to be mad at you because they didn't get a card from you this year. They don't want you to be stressed. So if there's certain things that you just don't enjoy and you're stressing about them and you find them a part of every single holiday season, but you don't love it, it's okay to let it go. It's okay. It really is. It really is.
All right. So I think this is a good lead in to our next story, which is just, there's so many shiny objects at Christmas time, all the pretty ornaments. Oh, squirrel.
Yeah. Yes, this is me. I'm so distracted all the time.
So let's play our next video. All right, are you ready for the second story?
Oh, I can't wait.
This one has sparkle and glitter. It's all about the shiny objects during the holiday season. I'm not talking about the ones that you hang on the tree, though. I'm talking about all the shiny objects that are stealing your time around holidays. So the story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a girl that felt like she wanted to do everything there was to do in the holidays. She's going Christmas caroling and she's got to set up the tree and you got to get the decorations done outside and she's got to get the kids over to this event, and it is just crazy for every moment through all of December.
Yes.
And by the end, she's just burnt out.
She sounds completely unfocused.
She's supposed to start out the year on her goals, but she's just so burnt out by the end. She needs a vacation from her holiday.
Right. She's exhausted. She's exhausted by all the chasing. So how do we fix this problem? How can we focus better?
well, shiny objects are pretty sparkly and do like to catch our attention, but the way that you combat this is with a plan. There's going to be a lot of things for you to do over the holidays. Some of them are really, really important to you.
Right.
And some of them, really, if you thought about it, you could take it or leave it. So before you even get into the excitement and the sparkle and everything's happening for the holiday, make a plan. Sit down, think of 3 things. What are 3 things that you value the most about the holiday season that's most important for you to spend time on? And then physically put that on the calendar.
I love that.
Non-negotiable, these things are going to happen, it's going to get done. And anything else on your list, if they get done, awesome. And if they don't tell yourself the story that you had to be doing all of that stuff.
And what about delegation, right? Like just someone else handling the shiny object.
That is a great idea, because sometimes there is a lot to do in order to get that one thing you want done. You don't have to be the only one to do it.
Right, and that might be giving someone else a gift, giving them the chance to help you out. Sometimes when you're running around stressed, people are asking, what can I do to help? And if you don't give them something to do, then they just get frustrated and you're frustrated.
Exactly.
So I love the idea of delegating. Great way to focus and delegate. That's how we deal with the shiny object problem.
Have a plan and delegate. All right.
I love the idea of having a plan. It's so simple, but how many of us just dive headfirst into something? And I'm this way. I like, if I feel, especially if I feel overwhelmed or if I feel like there's a lot to do, I'm like, well, let me just start doing before stopping for a minute and plan first. I'm just I forget how the saying goes, but like most of us don't plan to mess up, but we don't plan not to. So like, all right, just go into something, like stop for a second, make a plan first. Do you really have to? And I'm really bad about like every like fire that occurs around me, I have to put it out, or I have to address every single thing, where it's like, okay, then I'm just running around and just, I don't feel like I'm being productive. Whereas if I just like make a plan, stick to that plan, and say no sometimes, that's hard for some people. For me, it is. I want to say yes to everybody and everything. You can't,
It's interesting. I was reading an article today that they did a study on just that, where they like polled people, like if somebody invited you to a Christmas party, do you think that that other person thinks ill of you because you said no? And it was like over 50% of people were really worried that if they said no, that person would care. But the reality of it was they weren't even thinking about you after that. Like they didn't dwell on it. They didn't worry about it. They didn't think about it. Are there some people out there in the world that are hurt every time you turn down their invitation for something? Yes. But is it the majority of people? No. So if you just want to stay home in your jammy pants with your new fuzzy slippers and drink some hot cocoa and watch Netflix, it's okay. Say no.
Yeah. Yes. And if somebody really does get totally butthurt because you didn't come to their thing, it may have more to do with something going on with them than it really does with you anyways. Especially if you've got good intentions, you can't stress and worry about what everyone else is thinking. And I mean, I forget how the saying goes, but it's like everybody's thinking about themselves anyways. Like we tend to think that everyone's thinking about us, but they're all thinking about themselves and what they've got going on. So it's not worth stressing ourselves out over. But I've been there. Like, I think I have to say yes to everything, like every invite. And we have the fear of missing out.
Yes.
If it's too much. I mean, then we're going to miss out on rest and rejuvenation too, if we're just always saying yes.
But I mean, I can sleep when I'm dead. I remember saying that a lot when I was younger. I think I appreciate sleep a whole lot more now.
It's essential. It's so essential.
But that was another story I was telling myself that was really actually causing a lot of stress because I was exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of evidence for if we're not getting enough sleep. I find this at the core of a ton of health problems. If we're not getting good quality sleep and we're not getting enough, it jacks up our hormones. Our body needs that sleep. It messes up every single process that our body goes through. And people end up with disease and run down and mentally exhausted and physically exhausted. We need sleep. Make it a priority. It's really important. Way more than we think. Most people understand like nutrition in the gym. Like, oh, I know I need to get in the gym. I know I need to eat right and take medicines. I'm like, well, what about sleep? And they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, we got to talk about it. It's so essential. 6 hours is like the bare minimum. 8 would be ideal.
All right. So, what else was I going to ask about this this section about the shiny objects? What's one thing that you do over the holiday season that is really important to you, and why?
I guess I would say for me, I mean, I love quality time with people that I love. So getting together with friends, you know, at least once or twice during the season to celebrate, and getting together and just hanging out with my kids and doing something special with them. That's, to me, it makes me feel loved. I feel like I'm showing them that I love them. Um, but I don't care as much. But I know everybody's different with their like love language or how they express love or how they feel love. Some people, to them, getting a gift is very important, but for me, it's that quality time. So I just make sure to make that quality time with people that I love, and I don't stress over whether or not everything's perfect in that moment. Like whatever way that I can spend with them, I do it. So that's it. I don't have any one set tradition that has to be done, but I just want to make time with my friends, some kind of holiday evening out, and then time with the kiddos, doing something fun with them that's Christmas related. What about you?
Well, I do have to agree that my favorite part around the holidays is the fact that a lot of people do have off of work, so it makes it a little easier to spend that time together. And usually, you know, there's a lot of good food and drinks and laughing, and those are things that I can look back on and be happy to relive that memory.
Yeah.
And it's something that some of the other elements, even though they're cool, you know, going and listening to Christmas carolers or something like that, that's awesome. You know, I love music. So going to see something like that is always really powerful, but it's really having that human connection and being around other people.
Yeah.
That I think is the most important for me over the holidays.
I agree. And then what about delegation? Have you found yourself this season or like delegating a little bit more? Like handing off something to anyone else?
Oh my goodness, Erica, I went off a new cliff with delegation. I took advantage of the Parker Dewey grant, and I got some interns working for me.
I love that.
That
you're helping them. They're learning. They're helping you. It's like a win-win. And a lot of us don't delegate. And why? We're so, and I'm the worst about it. I'm like, I have to do everything. Like, why? Delegate something. You're going to do someone a favor.
Mm-hmm. And I even like, now that I've had this breakthrough, like, oh, it's okay to do this.
Yes.
I'm like starting to write stuff down, and I'm like, wait, do I really have to do this? Oh, but do I? And at first I want to be like, yes, I am the only one who can touch this.
Right.
But if I think about it a little bit deeper, usually that's not true. And I can just quickly write out some work instructions and quickly teach somebody else how to do it. It's a repetitive task a lot of times. I don't have to do it.
Yeah. And you're giving them an opportunity. You know, that's the other thing. You're giving someone else a gift when you allow them to help you. And that's vulnerable. You know, it's like I had to really, when I looked into why I didn't want to delegate, I had to admit to myself, it's vulnerable to ask someone for help. Like, hey, will you help me? They have the power to tell me no. And I didn't want to hear that. So I never ask, you know, and then I had to learn like, okay, I can ask. And more often than not, I would get like, yes, I'm happy to help you. And it's wonderful. It's that loving energy exchange between two people when one person helps another. And it's like, I love helping others. That's why I got into my profession. Why won't I let others help me, you know? So it's definitely a good thing. I'm really glad that you're delegating more and I'm doing the same, and it's definitely a win-win.
I'm definitely going to be working on that as one of my New Year's resolutions, and
Yes.
delegate more, less.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes for me, the thing I was holding on to the most, and then once I delegated it, like it was like, oh, why didn't I do this sooner? Probably the other person can do something better than what I could do, you know?
Exactly.
Not that hard.
All right. So let's talk about the next video. You know, the holidays are that time of year. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of suicides this time of year. People are lonely. They don't have that family or like a good network of friends to go be with over the holidays.
Right.
And that can be pretty sad. And so we wanted to touch on that a little bit. And so that is our next video. Do you know that movie, It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes, it's been a while, but definitely.
I don't know what it is about that movie, but every time I watch it, I end up crying.
Yes, I'm the same way. There is a huge mind-body connection. So crying, laughing, they're physical responses. What happens in our mind affects us physically, even all the way down to like a neurochemical hormonal level. So when we feel stressed, when we feel attacked, when we feel unsafe, we have a fight or flight response. Most people are familiar with that, right? You've been in that situation. So your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, something stressful happens. That's good, actually, in the short term. If you're in an unsafe situation, you need that energy to get out of that situation and get somewhere safe. But what's not good is when we keep having that response over and over again, when it's a negative thought pattern that's putting us in that fight or flight response.
Okay, but this is a movie. It's imaginary. It was just a story, and I'm still physically seeing the response.
Right, right. And the beauty of that is you have control, right? You know this is not real, and you can stop in each situation and ask yourself, is this really a danger? Am I in danger here? If you are, get out of the situation. But if you're not, you get to pick whether or not you have that negative response, and you get to pick healthy responses. We are all after the healthy mind and body, and that is serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. These things are released when we are connecting with others, when we are bonding with friends and family. That's what we want more of. And we get to decide what thoughts we think, and that affects how we feel because it affects our body on a neurochemical level.
Oh. Hold on. Okay. I got it. I got it. All right.
Good job.
So we talked about this video before we shot it for a little while. And then we stopped and we had a lunch and we like really kind of talked about this because this process of how your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results is the process of how you got to where you are today.
Right.
And so when we apply it to being sad around Christmas time, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to miss people that aren't here with us in the holidays anymore and remember them and be sad and even cry.
Mm-hmm.
But getting out of that space after a certain amount of time is what is required so that you don't get sick or make yourself sick or hold yourself in this negative emotion. And just, I mean, think about a physical injury. If you have a physical injury and you try and run around the block, it's probably not going to go so great.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we carry around these emotional injuries with us, and we don't ever do anything to heal it.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, and the holidays are a time for reflection, but they're a time for joy. I think using the example of someone who's lost and not there, you can feel the sadness, but you can also kind of think about like, well, would they want me to enjoy this holiday? And how can I commemorate them? How can I remember them? How can I feel the joy? How can I take the idea of loss and apply it to the flip side, which is like we have a limited amount of times that we're here. So let's enjoy this time that we're here. Let's hold those loved ones that we do have even closer. Um, Tell that kind of story. Like you were saying, it's about the stories that we tell, but it is definitely, all of us kind of know this intuitively, but it's like it's irrefutable now. The mind and body are totally connected. So things that affect us mentally affect us physically. So you mentioned being sick. Like I see this all the time. People that are under chronic stress, where they're just like going over and over negative thought patterns and they're feeling stressed all the time, even when the danger is not right in front of them, they're more likely to get sick. They're more likely to even gain weight because their cortisol levels, cortisol is a hormone that when it spikes, our body will just pack on more weight because our body's like, okay, I'm in a chronic stress. Let me save up more fat. So in case I am going to go into a starvation or I'm going to go into a desperate situation. So it's one of the many reasons why I think our population is overweight. There's lots of reasons why, but one of them is the chronic stress. We kind of get into like negative mindsets and don't get out of them and don't find those things that we need to have a healthy mind first. You've got that idea right. Like get your mindset right first. It's the beginning of all the healthy habits. It's the beginning of the physical health. It starts with the mental health, not the reverse. A lot of people like, well, I'll start running when I start feeling like it. No. You need to
And
like
I mean,
get your mindset.
there's something to that too, a little bit. I mean, when you go out and you exercise, you also get those feel good hormones
Yes.
going, right? That's why they tell you that it's a stress reliever.
Mm-hmm.
So it can help, but it's like doing it the hard way, because you might be able to, like for me, when I start a new habit, I go for 3 weeks and I'm doing great. It's awesome. It's amazing. And then at that 3-week mark, for some reason, like then boom, I don't do it anymore. And so I have to have extra support at those times, just knowing that that is my typical pattern of building a habit. I will do great for 3 weeks, and then I need somebody to just check in on me.
Yeah, so ask for that. I think it's great. I think we all need that. I mean, I don't think anybody can face anything really difficult alone, whether it's dealing with a difficult emotional situation or just a new habit. Get somebody that's going to hold you accountable or talk you through it. Get your coach or even like a really close friend to check in on you. I think that's wise. That's really helpful.
And when you're thinking about your strategy for the holiday, if you are a person that the holidays it's really difficult for you, you really feel sad and unhappy, figure out what would make you happy over the holidays. What is something you could do that would make you happy? Who could you reach out to? Who could you talk to? Don't just stay there alone. Reach out to someone.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, the idea of being happy all the time. Like I don't have to be happy all the time, but we can go through periods where we're feeling a little lower, but and the thing I was going to piggyback onto that is it doesn't have to be something that makes us ecstatic, right? Like it's like people are like, okay, I've got to find this one thing that makes me happy, when it could just be a little something. Like if just the idea of a warm cup of tea and a movie makes you happy, it doesn't have to be any bigger than that. Like, okay, do that. And then follow what makes you a little bit happier, and you might find the next thing that makes you a little bit happier. It doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think I have a great challenge for people that are watching this video right now. This is a good way to get you started in the new year. Do a brainstorming list. Start a timer, 2 minutes, and start writing down as many things as you can think of that make you happy or put a smile on your face. And like Erica said, they can be little things like when you smell a flower and it
Yes.
smells amazing. And then that makes you feel good.
And I would say I would reach back in your memory and think about the last time you felt truly happy. Because a lot of times we tell ourselves stories about what we should want. Well, I should feel happy by volunteering at the soup kitchen. I mean, if that makes you happy, great. But what about what really, really, remember when the last time you were laughing so hard you couldn't stop, or you were totally in the zone? Maybe it was doing cartwheels. That's fine. Then you have to do a cartwheel every day. Write down on your list, like whatever it was. It could be something silly. You went to a concert and you loved it. Like, then you need to put down on your list, I need to go to a concert. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be productive or what you think your vision of society says you think you should want. It's whatever you really, truly love.
And once you get that list together, then go through every day and pick one thing off of that list and do one thing at the very least for yourself.
Especially if you're feeling down, right? Like, go to your list. Like, oh,
Yeah, maybe
I
do
don't know how
like
to get
4 or 5 things on the list that day. Like, that's what I do on my mental health days, where I'm like,
It's
I just
awesome.
don't feel like it. I am down today. What do? I do all the things that make me happy. I take the dog for a walk. I like
Love that.
sit on the couch for a while. I watch my fish swim around in the fish tank. I talk to my parakeets. Like, these are things that make me happy when I'm spending time doing them. And just really taking 5 minutes out just to hang out with my pets, like, always
Right.
makes me happy.
It doesn't have to be huge, right? It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be. Some people talk themselves out of the things that make them happy. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have. But you mentioned watching your fish swim or your parakeets. Like, that doesn't take hardly any time at all, and it makes you happy. So I think that's awesome.
I also want to touch on the fact that we have this inner dialogue that's going on all the time. And there is one particular voice, the judge, that we all have.
Right.
And this judge is either judging you yourself, you idiot, why'd you do that? You're so dumb. Like, I'm so frustrated with you. When are you ever going to learn? Okay. And you judge other people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Could you believe she wore that shirt? Could you believe it? Like, and then the judge is also judging situations.
Yes.
And a lot of times the judge is saying this situation is bad. And because this situation is bad, we cannot be happy until that situation is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
But a different perspective is this situation isn't bad at all. In fact, it could be a gift or opportunity for you if you looked at it from a more creative perspective.
Yes. I love that.
So one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had this year was the realization that every time I'm like, oh, I can't wait until this happens, was like a partial version of that judge saying, you know what? We're just not going to be happy until we're on vacation.
Right.
We're not going to be happy until then. We're just going to be stressed out. And we're going to be unhappy until it's vacation.
Right.
And now that I catch that language in myself when that comes up, I stop for a second and go, no, wait, what in this moment could I be happy about right now?
Yes.
And sometimes I got to go to that list because sometimes I am so stressed out and I am so hijacked and I am so close-minded to what I could do to get out of that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've been in that place where I'm kind of like, I'm not going to be happy when, I'm not going to be happy until, so that even when I get on vacation, I'm still mentally running through a to-do list and I can't even relax then because my mind's used to the constant running. So then I don't even know how to relax when I'm presented with the perfect opportunity to relax. Then I'm like, oh my God, I'm on vacation. What's going wrong when I'm not at home? I mean, it's crazy. It's
and
craziness.
You're thinking about the next thing already, like the next thing that's going to be like the thing that's going to make it.
Yes.
Yes. And this is just a habit. It's just a thought process habit. So
it's
when
really
you
common.
can catch these things and slow it down, you can create the new neural pathways to think in a different way that's going to give you a better outcome than what you've been getting up to this point.
I love that idea so much because Heidi, it like puts that control in our hands, like the steering wheel's in my hands versus it being external, right? Like I'm going to be happy when I get the promotion. I'm going to be happy when I find the right person. I'm going to be, well, that puts the control everywhere else other than with me. But if I'm saying like, I'm going to take this perspective that I'm going to find a happiness in each moment, then I get that control. And that's the honest truth, really. We're the ones that control. So
I think this is a perfect message for people that are, kind of feeling hopeless or sad right now, is you can change the situation that you're in right now, no matter how dire. And if you don't know how, reaching out to someone is the first place to start.
I guarantee that not everybody understands exactly what you're going through, but everybody has been there in some way. And just reaching out to someone else, if they're the right trusted person, they're going to say, "Oh man, I've been there. I know how you feel. Here's what I did. Here's what helped me," or "Here's an encouraging word." Like you're going to feel better by the end of it because we all have gone through similar things. We've all gone through loss, we've all gone through grief, we've all gone through a situation when something didn't go my way, and when I hear it from someone else, a lot of times my feeling is empathy, and empathy is just like a gift, when two people can share that. I mean, there's a big pressure, I think, nowadays for us all to like, live that social media highlight life and like everything's fine. It's great. It's fine. But when you have that moment with a friend where you're like, I'm really struggling, and you share that, you're really sharing something special that bonds you, whereas you may not bond over everything's fine all the time. So it's really it's a great way to feel connected, is to reach out in your vulnerable moment and share with somebody that you trust.
I agree. Okay, so let's see. Let's play our next video.
Yeah, let's do that.
Do you know that movie, It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes.
The next video?
Definitely.
Okay, so here's the story everyone talks about at Christmas time. The story of that toxic family member that's at every gathering that just drives everybody insane. Yes. Right?
Yes. We all have one. We all have one.
Going back to that mind-body connection, it's really going to lead to certain feelings. And those certain feelings are going to lead you to act in a certain way. And then you're going to get a certain result. So let's apply this to the very toxic person in your family. Sitting down to a nice family dinner. And all of a sudden, the uncle that's had way too many eggnogs at this point just starts talking politics and swearing up a storm, coming up the kids' ears. But you've always had a certain response when this happens. Instantly, you feel annoyed, angry. And now your body takes on that fight or flight response.
Yes.
And so the action that you might take very often is you're going to yell at this toxic person, and then this toxic person yells back, and then somebody else gets triggered by and they join the argument, and it turns into this big thing, and it happens every year.
Right.
Happens every year. Just expect that it's going to happen. But what if you had the power to change the outcome, to get a different result? That all comes back down to the beginning root. What are you thinking about? Now, rather than going through the same process you had before, what would be a better outcome? Well, the better outcome is that we all peacefully eat dinner together.
Yes.
So rather than feeding into the negative energy that's coming from this toxic person, what if you didn't react to them? You just redirected the conversation to something completely different. When they tried to redirect it back in a toxic way, you redirect in a positive way. So rather than having every family member being triggered, like the movies and It's a Wonderful Life, making you cry, now everybody's being triggered with anger. We're going to trigger them with positivity, and you're going to lead the conversation in a direction that you want it to be.
I like that. And ask yourself, are you really in danger here? Are you really safe? Most likely you're safe. You're not in physical danger. So you can take a moment and choose how you want to respond to this person.
Can I just say I love this video so much because this relates not only to the holidays but all throughout the year. Like everybody, I guess if we took a poll, would raise their hand. Like we all have at least one, if not multiple, toxic people in our orbit somewhere. It could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be a family member that always want some kind of negative drama. And I think it's something I've learned in my own life. Many people have learned it. You do not have to respond. And actually, the more you respond to it and react to it, the more it feeds them, and it just keeps going and it never gets resolved. And it's okay to just be like, I'm going to respectfully walk away from this situation. I don't have to respond to this person. They don't have to like what I have to say. They don't have to like me. I mean, some people just aren't, and that's okay. That's okay. If I'm confident and at peace in myself and who I am and how I feel, then I don't need someone else's approval that wants to be negative.
I think it was in my late 20s when I first really understood the concept of setting boundaries with some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think that was something that you could like actually do. And in a lot of cases, if it's someone that you don't want to or can't completely cut out of your life, sometimes it actually helps the relationship to just step back.
Yes. Yes. And to say, like, we're not going to talk about this topic here. I mean, I think when family gatherings get together, you kind of said in the video, the example might be a political argument or certain hot button topics that can trigger any of us, like politics, or maybe for some people it's religion, whatever it is. You can say to certain people, you know what? I love you and I can be here with you, but we're not going to talk about this particular topic. And if you start bringing it up, then I'm just going to have to walk over here and I'm going to have to go talk to somebody else because we're just not going to. And there's no harm in that. And sometimes that's the best thing you can do.
In the situation of difficult people and having the same experience over and over and over with them, I would say that this is probably one of the more difficult things around the holidays to get around without getting hijacked by your own saboteurs and your own judgments and just negative emotions.
Yes.
So
sorry.
what do you think that people should do to even be able to change that in that moment? Like, what do you think would be a good thing that you could do to make the outcome be better than it's been in the past?
Well, I think you've really hit the nail on the head when you talk about the stories that you tell yourself. I mean, I think reflecting on when you feel triggered, what is it? Like, why are you feeling triggered? Let's say, for example, I have a friend who, for whatever reason, deep down, she has a feeling of like, I'm not worthy. Like that's kind of been something she struggles with. So when she's in a situation where somebody disregards what she says, it triggers that feeling of I'm not worthy. But it kind of started there with her. And so she just gets really, really upset and it gets way out of proportion. So for her to, I've been trying to gently tell her as her friend, like, hey, you are worthy. You do need to recognize that so that you don't get triggered, or that if you feel yourself being triggered, like, why am I getting triggered? Oh, it's this nagging feeling. I need to realize that's what this is and not let it get the better of me and tell myself that affirmation that I am worthy. And so recognizing what the root of your emotional response is one thing. Recognizing toxic people. I think I love that nowadays it's just become more and more common for people to understand there's such a thing as a narcissist or a toxic person or whatever. If someone is just having a bad day, that's one thing. But if someone is always the center of some kind of negative drama, they might be toxic and their goal is not anything other than starting more drama. So the more you feed them drama, the more they're going to keep pushing those buttons. And I guarantee you, Nobody knows your buttons better than someone craving drama. So they're going to press the buttons that's going to cause you to explode. So when you see it happening, you have to recognize that when you give them that drama, you're just giving them what they want, and you're just going to have more of the same. So just recognize, like, all right, they're pushing my buttons. I'm feeling a certain type of way, but I don't have to respond to them. And I don't have to give them any drama right now. I know who I am. I know that I'm worthy, or whatever it is that you need to tell yourself. I'm confident, and I don't I don't have to give them any of my time and attention. Whatever you feed your attention to does tend to grow. And you probably teach your clients that, and talk with your clients about that. It's all about what we feed our attention and energy to. And it doesn't have to be negative drama. In fact, it can't, because there's no winning there. If you're just fueling drama, you're just exhausting yourself.
And a lot of times I know I had the belief that, oh no, it's okay, like I'll fix them, because I am highly empathetic. So I'm just like, no, they're hurting. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, I can help them. But the thing is, you can't fix another person.
No, yes.
That's not how you help them. They
And
have to come to the realization on their own that something needs to be different.
so much. And I think, I mean, men and women can fall into the same trap. Men get the kind of hero complex. Women get the, we're empathetic a lot. And it's just like, I've fallen in that trap so many times. And sometimes the negative toxic person's really good at playing that game. You can fix me. You're the only one that can fix me. You're the only one that can help me. Come feed into my drama somewhere. When you see that pattern happening, you just got to stop it right there and be like, you're going to have to fix yourself. I'm here over here as a support, but I'm not fixing you. You know, it's like, I got to fix me. You know, I got to work on me. Like, that's what we're all here to do, is work on ourselves. We can support each other, but one human being completely fixing another human being's problems, very unlikely.
Well, since you talked about fixing ourselves, I think this leads into the next story pretty nicely. We're talking about all that yummy holiday food that there's going to be
Yes.
in the next week. And for some of us, it's going to break our diets. And that could be pretty stressful. Or just the thought of Grandma yelling at us if we don't eat her special pie that she made for us this year. So let's check out what this story's about.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest stories around the holidays revolves around food. I mean, isn't that one of the main staples of our holiday season?
Yes.
We've got Thanksgiving, and then the big Christmas dinner, and of course, my favorite, and the thing that trips me up every holiday, is all of the desserts and sugar, and it's delicious. Erica, how can I stick to a healthy diet when there's all this temptation going on during the holiday?
That's a really good question. And most people are super worried about holiday weight gain. And it's super common. And I think the best thing to do is to plan, like we've been talking about. Plan for what you're going to do. You know what? I'll take it home to the kids. Or, man, I'd love to. I'm stuffed. It's not a requirement. And then get your exercise. You know, that's the other thing that would be great. Get some regular exercise during the day, because you know you're going to have that holiday event that night. And stick to a plan. Like, how much are you going to have? Just pick a certain amount that you're going to have that evening at the holiday event and stick to it, and you'll definitely feel better the next day. I would say the same thing for those holiday drinks. You know, just go into it like I'm going to have my 1 or 2 and then I'm done, so then you don't have to face that holiday hangover the next day.
So you know what I love about what you're talking about? You didn't tell me no. You didn't say, no, you must figure out how to just not have any of that. You are not allowed. I love it. Thank you for giving me permission. to have just a little bit of sweetness my holiday season.
I love that. And you know what, too? You brought up picking your top 3. Pick your top desserts you have to have over the holiday. Like, I've got to have my apple pie, my one slice of that, or I have to have my candy cane. Whatever it is that's really important to you, and then just get that one thing, that those top 3 things that you really, really want, and then eat healthy for the rest of the day, and you'll be fine.
Great advice.
What's your favorite thing, Erica?
Oh man, that was like the question I was going to ask you. Gosh, just to pick one is tough. I think I brought up apple pie in the video because I love it. You know, it's not super easy to make. So if somebody makes like homemade apple pie, it's like I definitely need to have some, and you definitely have to have it warm with the ice cream on top. And I love, if that's at a holiday gathering, I want that. And I know that if I can have that, I can turn down the cookies because they're not as important to me, or the brownies. You know, that's not. But definitely love pie, holiday treat.
Wait, no, I have to get my jacket. I'll be right back. Come on.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah. Those internets. Okay, so you were saying that if you eat the pie, it's okay. And I think we're back.
Hi.
Hey,
Sorry,
we're
you
back.
froze up on me.
All
Technology's so much fun.
right. All right. So you were saying about cookies.
Yes. I mean, certain cookies I love, like peanut butter cookies. I really love if they're homemade. But a lot of them I don't care that much about cookies. So I'm like, all right. So if I see like a whole like a table of holiday desserts, I don't have to put every dessert on my plate. I'm like, okay, let me get the one that I really, really like. And the other ones, like, I don't care about them. So like I mean, at least I try. I mean, nobody's perfect. There are days, like there was a holiday party I went to a couple nights ago for my kids for one of their events, and there was a whole tray of desserts, and I got a couple, and it was like 3 or 4. By the time I was done, like the next morning, I was like, oh, I don't feel good. And I overindulged a little bit, but it was that one event. So it's like, you know, that's the other thing. Like, I think a lot of us fall into a trap or make the mistake, and I've heard it before from my patients. It's like they get off track, whatever it is. They don't exercise for a couple of days, or they eat something they know they shouldn't, and they give up. They're just like, well, guess what? I blew it. It's over. And they just quit. And it's like if you think about a good, healthy exercise and eating plan, it's like following a GPS. You're going to get off track. If you get off track when you're going to a destination, your GPS, you don't just stop and be like, well, I'm never going to get to my destination. It's all over. You just get back on track with the next turn. Like literally the very next meal, you're back on track. The very next snack, the very next morning, you're back on track, and you're still going to get to your destination.
I like that. I like how you put that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about our next story.
Yeah.
The holiday shopping craziness. Have you noticed how crazy the traffic's been lately?
Oh my gosh, it's bad. People are trying to run each other over, and people are trying to punch each other in the Walmart for like the, you know, last minute gift item. And every year there seems to be one thing that's like the big toy that everyone has to have, and it gets out of control.
Yep, and you can't get anywhere near the mall. Just forget about it. Just Just don't drive
Yeah.
anywhere near there unless you actually intended to go to the mall.
Right. Don't try. Yeah. Don't go by there. It's not good. It's crazy.
All right. So let's look at this shopping story.
Erica, have you finished your Christmas shopping yet?
Oh my God, I'm so stressed out by you asking that. Let me see if there's whiskey in here. Why are finances so much stress around the holidays? I hear it over and over again. I feel it myself. Why is it such a big stressor? How can we avoid financial stress around the holidays?
I feel like we've really lost touch with the why do we give at
Yes.
Christmas time. You know, there's all those commercials about, oh, get her the beautiful ring, and oh, there's this wonderful gift that you could get for somebody. And it really just becomes about things and really less about why you would give the gift.
Yes, yes. You know, I've heard this is true. The biggest day of returns is the day after Christmas at all the stores. All these gifts are being returned. Like, what are we even doing? We've lost track of the why.
And what's one thing that's just as valuable as money?
Or more valuable than money?
Or even more valuable than money?
Your time, right? Your energy, your effort.
That's right. So why do we have to feel obligated to spend all of this money at Christmas time when our time is even more valuable than that money, that gift that was bought with that money? Your loved one probably would appreciate just having extra time with you over the holidays.
And they don't want you to be stressed either. Nobody wants to be a burden on anyone else. So if you're like, hey, let me just take you out for a picnic, or let's go for a walk on the beach, could be just as valuable, if not more valuable, than that shiny object that's going to get returned on the 26th.
So if the story that you're telling yourself is, I have to go out and buy all of these gifts, stop and reconnect with why you really want to be giving over the holiday season.
I love this story. You know, I feel like the holiday season is a season of giving, and that is wonderful. Like, the sentiment underneath all of that is a wonderful sentiment, but there's so much more toward giving than just exchanging gifts that cost money. Like, giving could mean giving your time to a charity. Giving could mean taking some things that you're no longer using in your house and giving to someone in need. Giving can be giving of your time. And I was telling you at the beginning of the show, like, I this year really did just reach out to all my sisters and say, hey, why don't we just stop with all the gift giving? Like I said, it became like we were all buying gifts on Amazon, shipping them to each other, wrapping them for each other. And it just became almost like a game that was just like, why are we doing this? Like, let's just use our time and energy to visit each other throughout the year. And I mean, I don't know about everybody, but my kids get way more excited about a visit with their cousins than they do about maybe an item that came in the mail from their cousins. So I love the idea of sharing time versus, it doesn't mean you can never give a gift, but maybe just like we've talked about a theme running throughout the whole show has been like, pick the things. There might be just one or two little items that you really find special. And then everything else could be just time spent, or just something doesn't have to cost a lot to be a very special present. Heidi, can you ever think of a time when someone gave you something as a gift, whether it was an item or whether it was time, that didn't cost a lot, but it meant like so much to you?
So I can think of a Christmas gift that I just got yesterday from my good friend Sarah Pace. She knows me so well. She bought me some sparkly glitter pens. And I was so excited. I had the pens out and like writing in the notebook, and my boyfriend's like, all I had to get you was sparkly pens for you to be happy.
Yeah. Because she thought about you and she's like, I know what would make Heidi happy. And it's sparkle and pens, and it didn't have to cost a lot. And it was special to you because she thought about you.
Yes.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. That's what we all need to be thinking. We don't have to go into ridiculous amounts of debt to prove anything to our loved ones. It's not
And
needed.
if it's so dire that you're stressing out about going holiday shopping for people, well, first of all, this year I found Temu, so I'm like, what, bracelets for $250? But I mean, there are things out there that are really inexpensive. But even if you're like cringing at the thought of like spending an extra $2 or something like that, it's not about the gift that you're giving to that person. Think about what your time really probably means to them. It probably is way more than the $2 gift that you were going to buy just so you had something to give them.
Yeah.
More than the diamond ring that you saved up all of this money for to give them. Your time is a way more valuable gift.
Yes. Absolutely. I really think so. And even people that are gift oriented. So I briefly love languages. Most people are familiar with that term. So my children, their love language is gifts, but it's about the thought and the intention behind the gift that makes them feel special when they get a gift. It doesn't have to be the cost at all. In fact, that's relatively unimportant to them. Just the fact that I thought of them and I brought them something that was special to them, or I made them something, or I wrote them a note, that means the world. So even if you have someone that maybe their love language is not quality time, their love language is gifts. A gift just needs to be thoughtful and be thoughtfully presented with emotion for them to be very happy with it. It doesn't have to be costly.
You just made me think of all of those little arts and crafts projects we made like in grade school.
Right?
My mom still has all of that stuff
Yes.
like in a scrapbook.
I am a mom, and I'm telling you, these little handmade things, this means the world. Like, I don't personally need anything expensive from someone. When someone gives me something thoughtful from their heart, like a little kid making something that they just want you to be so proud, it's just like, it's priceless. It's priceless. It's wonderful.
All right, so I think we have one more video to go, and this is our recap video because we want you to tell new stories for yourself in the new year to get better results than what you've been getting up to this point. And so that's what this video is about. Let's watch. Well, I've had a ton of fun telling Christmas stories with you today.
I'm same, and I already feel so much less stressed because I feel like I have a plan now going in. I am no longer going to be the frazzled, stressed out running around thinking I have to do everything. I'm going to pick my
Plan, it makes it so much easier to not get distracted by all of the shiny objects. So you don't have to worry about your schedule just getting way too out of control over the holiday season and feeling burnt out by the end.
I love that. Just pick your top 3 things and recognize that mind-body connection. When you feel stressed, when you feel that fight or flight like you gotta run, ask yourself, am I seriously safe right now? Is there anything chasing me down? If not, you get to choose how those thoughts that you're feeding yourself and how you feel. You don't need to be stressed. It's not good for you.
And when you feel that toxic uncle getting the best of you, stop and breathe for just a second.
It's in your face, you can realize, okay, I can have the few treats that I know that I really want and eat healthy the rest of the time. You have a plan going into it, so you don't have to just stress about the number on the scale.
And if you really want to say no, just tell them you're full. Tell them you'll take a little bit home for the kids. They're still going to be happy with you. It's going to be okay.
Exactly. And just remember the reason behind why you're giving a gift and you're feeling towards that person. And you can give something really meaningful that does not have to stress you financially.
That's right. Always get down to the bottom and the purpose of the why you are doing something, which comes down to the season.
Right.
and why we're even celebrating this to begin with. So tap into your why and have a happy holiday season.
I love that.
Oh, Erica, these videos were so fun to do.
Seriously, yes. And they really, I mean, just the short time we spent filming them and talking about them changed my entire holiday season. It really has. I'm not just making that up. Like I've delegated, I've, taken some things off my plate. I've picked the things that I'm going to do and the things I'm going to have. And it's made for a more relaxed, enjoyable holiday season for me. So I'm hoping for that for anybody that's sharing this experience with us.
Okay, you need to keep talking about something. What are you looking forward to doing this year for Christmas?
For me?
Yep. Besides, we already talked about spending time with family. What are you
Yes.
going to do with your family?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm like looking around at different holiday events. I mean, I like to drive around and look at all the neighborhood lights and put on a little Christmas
Oh, I got to
music.
do that too. You're right.
That's fun, and the kids tend to love it. And sometimes we bring hot cocoa when we go or whatever, so that's fun. Definitely been to a couple of holiday parties already, and that's a good time. I'm the kind that likes to dress up, so like a little theme. I always love that, a little Christmas outfit or something. What about the ugly sweater parties? I can't get enough of those. Grinch related, parties. I love that idea. What about you, Heidi? Like, what's your favorite holiday things to do?
I really, really enjoy driving around and looking at the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
There was a period of time where I worked for a company that hung Christmas lights for like the HOAs and the communities and stuff like that. So part of me likes driving around to see which communities are still using my holiday display from like how many years
You're like,
ago.
I did that. That's my
First of
craze.
all, I'm like, yeah, good quality lights we use. And then second of all, I'm like, my design was pretty good, wasn't it?
It's that creative part of your personality. I love that. Or which is most of your personality. You're very creative. That's good.
Yes, yes. And I love seeing other people's creativity with their lights. Like
Yes.
it's all over the place. It's crazy. Like some people actually make little frames and details. Oh, and then there's the people that have their Christmas lights like timed to music, and you've got like 100 cars packed outside of their house watching like the display go through its however many songs. Yeah, those people are super awesome.
That is so. I was just at the holiday party the other day, and some girl at the party was talking about she had a giant inflatable Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's, the gas station. She had a big
Yeah.
inflatable Buc-ee's thing in her front lawn, and she was talking about it. And all of us at the party were like, an inflatable Buc. Like we were just stunned. She's like, oh yes, like everyone has one. Sure, my inflatable Buc-ee's mascot. We're like, okay, whatever floats your boat. I love it. It's a season of creativity, like your mom's holiday village, or some of the creative items you see at parties, like the creative displays of desserts. At the same holiday party, somebody had made eggnog, like it was like fudge, but it was like eggnog flavored. So when you bit into it, it tasted like drinking eggnog, which is like a holiday memory. It triggered like a memory from when I was a kid, because we used to always drink eggnog at holidays time. So I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'd never had it before, but it was like eggnog fudge. So that cooking is very creative for some people. So I love it. It's
Yes.
like a piece of creativity.
I feel like, yeah, when you talk about cookies and the cookie plates that you get, and I'm like, what is this cookie? It's a weird shape and like different colors, and it's like, okay, I'll try it.
Or I went to an ornament exchange with my friends, and everybody brought the goofiest ornaments. Silly. They played music. I mean, it was just like, it was fun to see all the creativity, all kinds of weird, fun ornaments.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for hanging out.
Same.
The week of Christmas, spending some time.
Thank you all who are watching. I mean, really appreciate just having people share the time with us. This is great.
Yes, I want to say thanks to the people that have stuck around with us today. And right now, I want to open it up to you guys out there. If you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. while I'm waiting for you guys to type any questions, I do want to mention that I put the playlist from our YouTube channel in the chat, so you can go back and rewatch any of those videos. You can see me doing all kinds of crazy things like this.
Love it. Love it. And you guys, like, consider talking to Heidi more about this life coaching, because remember, we're going past, in productivity coaching, we're going past the holiday season and into the new year, and that's when everyone is thinking about their goals for the next year. And I mean, I don't know how you feel, Heidi. You can tell me in a moment, but I love New Year's resolutions. I find people are in two camps: either love them or hate them. Most people hate them, and they're like, "Oh, I hate them because, I start out really strong and then I fizzle, and so I get so frustrated that I don't even try." And it's like, well, you just went on your own and went all crazy on a workout for a week instead of having an actual plan and a coach and someone to help you with your goals. So how about this time go into it with a plan, and it's in a community and a group, and you're going to meet your goals, and you don't have to have a negative attitude toward a New Year's resolution. I think New Year's is a wonderful time of renewal. So it's a chance to be like, we have a whole blank year ahead of us. What are we going to put into this year? What are we going to fill it with? And it gives me a feeling of excitement of like turning the page. Like I actually love it. And I don't think of New Year's resolutions as temporary. I just think of them as intentions. I'm setting them at the beginning of the year. Is every intention going to be met? I don't know, but it's exciting to think about.
And I'm glad you said something about the word intention. I think we talked about having a plan going into the holidays, and how a lot of times we just plow right in and we don't have a plan. And we do that with our lives too. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna start doing it, which is good. I mean, you're getting stuff done, but a lot of times it's not the right things.
Yeah.
So you're wasting time there. And what I found as one of the more helpful habits that you could work into your day. So if you want to try out a New Year's resolution, helps to have an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this, using the first 15 minutes of your day when you get up to set your intention for the day
Yes.
is going to help you get more done in your day than whatever you've been doing so far. If you just get up and go straight to your Facebook or straight to the news or straight to any other entertainment thing you're watching.
Or the 5 texts from your friends with different things they want you to respond to. That's my problem. The group chats, I get all in there.
Hijacked by their energy immediately when you get up in the morning. So even if you don't think that it affects you, a negative news story or that text message where you're like, what is she talking about?
Right.
These things impact your day and cause you to lose focus. And then all those shiny little objects suddenly become so much shinier. And the end of the day comes and you're like, I didn't get anything done today that I wanted to get done.
Yeah.
Simply taking that time in the morning to yourself as a sacred time to think about how you want your day to go is going to help you stay focused.
Absolutely. I love that idea. I find on days that I do something like that, I feel better. I get a lot more done. And I would even add to that, go at the end of your day and write down or jot down or consider the things you did accomplish. One thing that I need to fix in the new year is that I write a to-do list every day. I'm kind of good about that. But then I erase items on my phone off my to-do list. So at the end of the day, all I'm looking at is what I didn't get done. So I have this feeling of like, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, and didn't get that. But it's like, well, you erased all the things you accomplished. What if you listed them at the end of the day and you said, like, what? Like, I got this done, I got this done, I got this done. I did pretty good today. Like, if you set some intentions at the beginning of the day and you did well with those intentions, acknowledge that at the end of the day, and you're going to feel much better and more confident to set intentions the next day.
Yes, celebrate those wins.
What's that?
Celebrate those wins. Don't just go, oh man, yeah, another thing off the to-do list and then move on to the next thing.
Yes. So people get discouraged by like, oh, I set a New Year's resolution that I was going to exercise more, and I exercised for a week and then I stopped. Well, you exercise for a whole week. That's awesome. Good. That means you could do it again and again and again. You could pick it back up. or quitting smoking. People talk to me about it a lot in healthcare. I gave up because I quit, but then I relapsed. But you quit, so go right for it again. You keep quitting, and every time you relapse, you learn something. What led to the relapse? How did you quit again? What did you learn about yourself and your habits? And pretty soon you're going to find that day where you quit for good, and that's for any establishing a good habit or getting rid of a habit that you don't want to have anymore.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Well, and before I just want to encourage anybody that is around Florida area to book an appointment with Erica in the new year.
Yeah.
You know, dig into your health and come up with a plan to live the healthiest lifestyle that you can, so you can enjoy your life long into your 90s. Oh, heck, 100,
Yes.
110.
I tell you, I love helping people, and I meet people all the time that come to me overwhelmed, thinking like the worst. And we get into everything, and we find out there's just a few tweaks they need to make, and they come back feeling so much better. And it's gratifying for them, and it's so gratifying for me. I've had patients in the clinic that have lost over 25 pounds, or they've completely changed their exercise routines, or they've gotten on that vitamin or that hormone replacement that now they feel like they did 20 years. I had a patient recently, a guy tell me, I feel like I did 20 years ago. And it was like, it made my week. Like, I love helping people. And so, yeah, come see me. I would love to help more people. And go see Heidi. Like, the few minutes that I spent with Heidi doing these videos, or like a couple of hours doing the videos, and the few minutes before just talking about my own personal life, are still yielding good results in my life. So I know that several weeks of work with her could change my entire life. So I'm encouraging everyone. Go see her. She has great knowledge, and she knows how to put it into action in your life.
Awesome. Thanks, Erica. So Erica's information has been showing up on the bottom of the screen here and there. That is her link tree. So that has her website and social links on it, so that you can visit that. Let me see. I could probably put that in the chat too while I'm at it. Hold on. Well, I'm putting that in the chat. What final messages do you have for everybody out there, Erica?
We're finishing up the holiday season. Enjoy this holiday season. Enjoy the little things. Enjoy the big things. And then head into the new year with some good intentions. Set those intentions and ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help from coaches. Ask for help from friends. If you have something you want to learn or something you want to do, reach out to someone that is already doing that thing or is already an expert on that topic, and ask them for advice. It doesn't even have to cost anything. I know I'm this way. I'm sure most people are. If you have a question, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer it. Like, a lot of people are living their passion for a reason. And so they like to be asked those questions. So if you know a personal trainer, if you know a physical therapist, if you know a life coach, ask them their advice and go for it. Reach for those things that you want to do in the new year, and don't be discouraged. Let this next year be even better. I think there is a great chance each year can be better than the last. And I kind of have that optimistic mindset. So I'm hoping for all of that for all of you guys. What about you, Heidi?
That was a great way to end it, Erica. So I put our Linktree links in the chat. Those are there. I also want to give a shout out to Todd Shipman for doing the video work on our videos. I should have a link here. His link is on all of our videos.
He is a fantastic videographer. He's also a director for like amateur films. He directs film, and he loves doing corporate film. He can make someone's business look really good, commercial type work, shooting events. Like, just a brilliant videographer, has great equipment, a good vision. We told him what we wanted. We told him we had this idea, and he was like, got it. And he was able to just set it all up exactly how we wanted and edit it just to make it flow. And he's brilliant at what he does. So, and he's great to talk to. So if you have any ideas or questions about film or something film related, marketing for your business, anything like that, and you reach out to him, he'll have some good insight.
So thank you, Todd. You made all of this possible.
He really did. It was great.
So I guess I would like to say that it's true that working with a coach or, you know, even getting some medical advice doesn't always have to cost you a lot of money. And with what we're doing with this channel, with Win Every Time, is we're building this community of education and resources and a place for everyone to network or become comfortable with the habit of networking, become comfortable with networking through social media, through online channels, and be able to learn from each other, whether it be someone who's been in business for many, many years and is getting ready to retire, or someone that is just getting started in their career or their field. We all have something that we can learn from each other. And when we do that and when we collaborate together, we really truly all have a chance to win every time. So
I agree. I
hope,
love the project that you're doing at the college. I think that's really, really cool.
well, I'm really glad you're going to be there helping me with it.
Yes. 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 I can't wait. I mean, it's really, I love collaboration. Collaboration is the name of the game in healthcare. I mean, we all work together, you know, doctors, physical therapists, nurse practitioners, everything involves a team nowadays. So I love that you're putting teams together to learn from each other and to teach each other stuff in a community environment. And it's just brilliant what you're building. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
So hopefully you guys will all subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications whenever we go live. We're really going to start our regular broadcasting at the beginning of next year. So subscribe and
Yes.
come back. Come hang
Hang out
out
with
with
us.
us. I've got so many cool people to introduce you to. It's ridiculous. And as soon as you get a chance to see them and meet them in the videos, the invitation is going to be there for you to reach out and have a conversation with them. Like, these experts are right here for you to reach out to and talk to in real life. And you don't have to be scared. They won't bite your head off. They won't say no.
They're here voluntarily. They
They may
want to
not
share.
right now, but they will not be like, I am not talking to you. I do not know you.
They're going to be like, come ask me your question and also teach me something. I mean, it's just, it's great. These are networking, like people that love to help each other out. So it's a great environment.
It is. And you're really one conversation with a strange person away from that next opportunity that you've been looking for.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I
like
think
playing a
everything's about
video
connection.
game. It's like playing a video game and you have to go talk to this person to go find out where you have to go next in the video game.
It's like the cheat code.
Networking is the same thing.
Yeah.
Every time you show up, it's just like playing the game and talking to the right people to find the next piece of your puzzle.
Yes. Yes. Or the next idea, the next big idea. It's
That's
really
right.
cool.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching out there. And I guess I should double check one more time before I sign off to see if anybody put anything in the chat. And speaking of the chat, I did put Todd's Linktree link there. So if you do want to have an awesome person do some videos for you, you can reach out to Todd. But I hope everybody out there has a very joyous, relaxing, happy holiday season and a happy new year.
Amen. Couldn't have said it any better.
All right, everybody. See you later.
Good night.